I promise you that your experience will be so much more pleasurable with the dominant you feel connected to if you put in the work to making that connection. I'm Alexandra Snow, professional dominatrix, fetish media producer, and educator for over 20 years. So in the next few minutes, we're going to answer the question, what makes a good submissive? Really, this both applies to online as well as the in-person realms. So let's dive into some of the nuances together, shall we? All right, good. Now, before we begin, know that these are my preferences and they're my perspectives. Okay, I'm speaking from my wealth of experience as a professional dominatrix, and that is in fact the lens we're going to be viewing a lot of these concepts through. And my lens also includes a financial dimension because I am a professional. So keep in mind that all dominants are different, all submissives are different, and everyone's going to have different preferences and different styles which they communicate and different expectations. This guide is not a one-size-fits-all guide. It is simply a starting place to develop where you should where and how you should approach seeing a dominatrix, how to talk to them online, things like that. If you're looking to pursue a long-term relationship with a professional dominatrix, this breakdown is a good place for you to start. It's also just a good thing for you to think about when you're pursuing relationships with other people, okay? So what constitutes a good submissive? You know, as often our interactions start in the online realm. So let's first dive into the dynamics of online submission, okay? Research and expectations. So listen, research is the most helpful tool for those who are either new to getting into this or perhaps haven't spent enough time really thinking about the particularities. And this is where you need to begin. So understanding a dominant style, their interests, and their boundaries is key to finding compatibility. You also need to consider your desires. Are you seeking an ongoing relationship? Are you looking for like periodic DS interactions? Or are you delving into more taboo things? Are you looking to explore a specific fantasy? Knowing what you seek is the first step toward attaining it, obviously. So you need to make sure that in your first steps of your research, you note their preferred pronouns and their honorifics. That's like step one. You can learn a lot about their style and their ethos with just a cursory amount of research through their websites. Who are they? Where do they live? What do they enjoy? And listen, don't be worried about finding a dominant who's close to you geographically because you may have limited options depending on where you live, and those people may or may not be compatible with you. So instead, spend some time looking for the most compatible match from various different websites, from social media, podcast interviews, things like that. Back to your self-knowledge though. You should really be cultivating a yes, no, maybe list to help anchor your desires. What do you really want? What do you want to explore? What do you feel nervous about? What do you not want to explore? Write all of this stuff down, update and modify it as you go. Now let's discuss realistic expectations, okay? Professional dominants offer a spectrum of different services, but it's pretty vital to acknowledge that these interactions are not inherently romantic, even if your fantasy has a romantic element involved, right? You just can't come in expecting that. Listen, also important here to note that dominants, we're humans too. We don't live lives inside the fantasy role that you might dream about. I don't eat, sleep, and breathe living in latex. And, we're gonna have hobbies, life events, bad days, good days. And the best and fastest way to develop a relationship with any dom is to respect and acknowledge that in every interaction. All right, you really should, however, avoid the pitfalls of demanding that your kinks be catered to, especially first and foremost. We are not kink dispensers. Again, we're human beings. And so even if your desires lead toward a personal romantic connection, you also need to understand that a relationship needs to evolve. It requires investment and patience over a longer period of time. I know lots of doms who end up having or even marrying submissives who were previously clients, and that took a long, long time. So if that's your goal, that's a great goal, but be willing to invest in it. So listen, dominants all find themselves inundated with a barrage of messages from eager submissives, but patience and consistent communication is key. Those regular check-ins, those regular conversations. I mean, like, my inbox is literally full of people all day, every day, demanding my time, okay? And we receive countless messages each day, mostly from people who are looking for immediate gratification. They want this kink or that kink or whatever. I want my, pay attention to my dick today. So to distinguish yourself, you need to prove that you're not just here for like a quick chat or a get off now encounter. There's nothing wrong with that, but I promise you that your experience will be so much more pleasurable with the dominant you feel connected to if you put in the work to making that connection. So you need to engage in thoughtful conversations. Showcase a genuine interest in that dom. Understand what's working in their lives. What do they love? What do they not like? Spend some time investing in the nuances of the dynamic you're about to explore by investing in the nuances of that person. Long-term commitment. Listen, online communications often feel very, superficial. We're behind screens. It makes sense, right? So the value of a submissive who seeks more than just like a little quickie moment cannot be overstated. Dominants, we're discerning individuals who appreciate submissives who are willing to invest in the journey. And that's really what it is. It's a journey. So showcasing your commitment involves more than just sporadic, messages when your desires strike. You need to be consistent, be reliable, and most importantly, you should be patient. You need to adapt to the dominant's needs, the frequency of communication, and also show your generosity too, your worship. That comes through in spades. Submissives often fall into this trap of engaging in these like little short-lived chats, and they disappear as quickly as they appeared. And that's not great for building a relationship or building a connection. So avoid the pitfall of treating these interactions as disposable, especially when there's money involved, because I know I should probably cover the nature of transactional relationships. There's a whole other YouTube video that I need to do, and I digress, okay? So instead, treat every conversation as an opportunity to build a foundation for a lasting connection, right? Communicate about your intentions, your desires, your expectations, your budget, your own needs, your limits, all these things. And be willing to acknowledge that all relationships, all of them, they require time to grow, and the expectations that you have for that type of dynamic may need to be shifted as these things grow. So how do you approach a dom online? First, contact them through their preferred payment platform. Through their preferred paid platform. This is the golden rule. Not a DM, not an email. Their preferred paid platform. For some, this is like a fan club platform, like I have loyal fans. Or some, it's a texting platform. And listen, if there's no paid platform listed on their website, send a tribute or a gift card before you send a DM or an email. This is always a great idea. Because otherwise, it's going to go in the bank with everything else. It's going to go right in the bin with everybody else's email. And do you really want your message to be lost? No, of course not. Now, are you looking for something just to get you off? Great, there's nothing wrong with that. Before you go rush into that sexting chat, though, maybe you should check their clip stores, check their fan club pages. I've got both, right? Go look for the content they've made. And listen, go beyond the first page. Utilize your search functions wisely. This will give you an idea of like what kind of content to create and whether your fantasy inside the realm of their experience. And again, don't just look at the first page, because if it's somebody like me who's made thousands of clips, I might have lots of different fantasies that I've catered to, and yours might be buried 4 or 5 pages in, but it might be something I really enjoy doing, or it might be something that I enjoy doing or talking about, but isn't as much of a popular fetish to do in a video. So keep all those things in mind. Now, it's important here that you come to terms with the fact that professionals are ultimately running a business, okay? And each part of these platforms and these interactions are essentially parts of various paid services. This is true, right? So you need to expect that a professional will utilize deposits, paid chat, screening fees, tributes, etc. You don't have to be into financial domination to show that you need to put your money where your mouth is. And the most successful pros receive dozens of emails and inquiries every day, and they never pan out to anything actual. So making sure that you're, again, putting your money where your mouth is means that you're going to actually get to have those conversations and you're going to get a chance to prove yourself. Otherwise, you're never going to get that chance. And it's also, listen, it's not shady or scammy for a dominant to expect some sort of financial compensation for their work. Building the foundations of a long-term dynamic is work. It's emotional labor. And most of us have spent a great deal of time investing in both our knowledge and our expertise. So it's up to you to show respect for that. Do not haggle. Do not manipulate. Do not lie. If you really want to have any semblance of a dynamic, you need to come honest. I need to be prepared to be a little vulnerable. Any experienced dominant, especially like me, is going to be able to see through all of your nonsense in 5 seconds flat. And the last thing you want to do is to appear like a time waster, right? You don't want to get blocked. You'll never get a second chance to make that impression. Listen, good manners matter. They do. Correct honorifics, the right pronouns, pleases, thank you, basic manners. That's like the first level. But the next one is you need to show genuine interest in the dominant's preferences and their likes and their dislikes and their limits. Building a relationship with one of us requires consistent, respectful communication, but also an actual interest in who we are, right? Also trust, is kind of the cornerstone. It's built over time through reliability, through honesty, and through transparency. So be consistent and be proactive. You need to communicate when you need to take breaks. Communicate about how your arousal feels. Communicate about finances. Communicate about bad experiences. This is all about a journey for you, right? It's a journey for me too, but it's a journey of discovery, for your self-discovery, and for me discovering who you are and what makes you tick. Now, attentiveness. So listen, picture this. Picture a dynamic where your submissive side just feels completely aligned with my desires as a dominant. You feel so completely in sync. Attentiveness, that's the silent heartbeat. It's the rhythm that orchestrates that little dance there. An attentive submissive, they not only listen, but they learn from their dominant. They possess a bit of an intuitive awareness, anticipating their needs and desires long before I've ever expressed it. And that takes time, but it also takes you paying attention. That means paying very close attention to everything, taking notes, looking for clarification, asking directly instead of making assumptions. The more attentive you are, the better likely I am to want to spend more time with you and more time on you, creating fulfilling, awesome fantasy experiences. Communication. We've talked about communication a lot already, but understand this is the lifeblood of all relationships. And in a DS dynamic, it's even more so. It becomes so much more crucial. A communicative submissive is truly a treasure and are my most valuable submissives because they share their thoughts, they share their feelings, their aspirations, and they foster a sense of open dialogue so that we can talk honestly and openly about all of these different things, whether they be scenes or fantasies or what's going on in our daily lives. And that becomes the bridge that connects both of our worlds, right? Because our worlds can't only be connected based on a shared love for pegging, okay? There needs to be something more than that. So communicative submissives, that whole communication process creates a pathway to understanding and growth and fulfillment, really, for both of us. So listen, in the realm of submission, communication isn't merely a formality, okay? It's not just talking about your day or giving feedback about a certain activity or task. It's really the tool for building connection, and this is what helps to transcend both the physical part into both the emotional and the psychological depths, which is really where DS relationships are the most powerful. Now let's take into subservience. Subservience is the innate desire to serve. Okay, it's a fundamental pillar of this DS dynamic we're exploring. And it's not about blind obedience. Notice I didn't say obedience, I said subservience. It's about a deep-seated respect for the dominant's authority within our dynamic, right? Subservience is this silent vow to honor and cherish the power exchange. It's about embracing the roles with authenticity and dedication. And a subservient submissive, they find fulfillment in surrendering. It's not about relinquishing personal power or your choices or any of those things. It's about the conscious choice to navigate the journey inside the skilled hands of somebody like me, who's a good guide, right? It elevates the dynamic from merely physical into a profound and symbiotic connection where both of us feel fulfilled. And like, isn't that really the end goal anyway? For the dominant to feel as fulfilled as you are? Don't you want us both to be having equally great of time? Of course you do. So why are these elements essential? Why can't you just say, I just want to be a slave, and that be the end of it? No? Well, attentiveness, communication, and subservience, they form the trinity that transforms a mere interaction, a mere kink experience, into an actual exploration. They lay the groundwork for trust, and that's the cornerstone, again, of any successful dynamic, right? Listen, trust is not given, okay? It's earned through demonstration of attentiveness, through the art of open communication, on the authentic embrace of subservience. You don't just get handed trust. I had to earn it, and you have to earn it too. So you're ready to embark on transitioning from online to in-person sessions, or perhaps you want to shortcut the online part and go right to in-person sessions. Great, I'm so proud of you. You're gonna have a really great time. But before we get there, let's navigate how you do that transition so you arrive with full confidence. Understand, again, the importance of trust. I want to say it over and over again, just like communication, right? When you're ready to broach the topic of in-person sessions, you need to approach it with confidence and with openness. You need to have an idea of exactly what it is that you're looking to do. You need to respect whatever that dominance process is and their protocols, right? You need to express your desires clearly. You need to provide detailed information about the kind of session you're looking for. And that will help the dominant to understand on whether or not they can help bring that session to life, right? And open communication is key. Discussing your expectations, discussing your limits, discussing the things you want to explore, the specific activities. And you need to also kind of be prepared for the dominant to tell you that they cannot provide certain aspects of your fantasy. And that's okay. There might be some pushback about the logistics. Many submissives have much bigger appetites than are realistic, and you need to leave some space for some things just to remain online. And that to be okay if the dominant says this, okay? So transitioning to in-person sessions means that you need to adhere to whatever the dominant's booking protocols are. Most of us have very specific procedures in place for this reason. Your safety and my safety, right? You understand that these protocols are not a hindrance. Trust me, they're not. I know it feels like a lot of hoops you have to jump through, but they're a necessary step to ensure that the explorations that you want to do, they go off the way that you hope they will. And it's also to make sure that I understand you. I understand the things that you're looking for, and then I also make sure that you're going to show up. So you need to provide all of the required information, okay? Promptly and accurately. Pay your deposit, follow all the steps. Follow all the steps as they are outlined. Screening procedures are a standard and essential part of ProDom's toolkit, right? These procedures are in place for the safety of both of us. And while it might seem daunting or scary at first, you need to understand that it is crucial. Like, all reputable professional dominants prioritize discretion and confidentiality. We could not run our businesses if we did not, okay? We're not here to fuck up your life or for someone to find out. No professional dominant has any interest in compromising your identity or using personal information against you. That's silly, okay? We're more interested in making sure that you are a safe person and you are safe to play with. That's what all of these protocols are here for. Word of mouth and reputation are invaluable for us. So professionals we all uphold a pretty strict code of conduct, and our success hinges on creating a safe and consensual space for exploration. So your safety is paramount, as is mine. So adhere to those screening procedures, take a deep breath, put on your big person pants. You can do this. I promise you, it'll be okay. Because for us, like, maintaining a trustworthy reputation is essential. So your safety, your confidentiality, all of those things are obviously rolled all into this. We are so invested in creating these positive experiences because they lead to long-lasting connections with our clients. Like, many of my clients have been seeing me for 2 decades, right? If I didn't have some stringent protocols about respecting their privacy and these ethics that I uphold, it would be impossible to have those kind of relationships last for that long, right? So if they can do it, you can do it. In-person dynamics are heightened versions of their online counterparts, and it is important to note that they are different than clips. They're different than videos. So it's also crucial to acknowledge that the dynamics explored online are going to manifest differently than they do in person because it's in person, it's real, right? So before you step in for an in-person session, it's important that you discuss the particulars and your desires and your limits explicitly. Do not leave any details out. This allows for us to start with our pre-session dialogue, which is like an interview. And by the end of that, we'll have a very clear understanding of the activities that will unfold in that session about rules and limits and, dialogue. All those things are very important. And this conversation will undoubtedly have some discussion about safe words too, which are used to help provide safety and an added layer of communication to this fantasy. So once the play starts, listen, relax, enjoy it. You're probably so nervous to get here, but you worked hard and now you're here. Relax and enjoy it. It's going to be great. It's going to be so much fun. Just keep in mind that years of online communication or years of fantasizing about a specific thing cannot replace the connection that is established in person. And that too takes time to create. Now listen, while you may have been dreaming about this once in a lifetime experience, the truth is it likely won't happen the first time. I know, it's sad. But both people need time and shared experiences together to create comfort and familiarity. So manage your expectations. It may just be that that once in a lifetime experience happens on the second or third or even fourth session. So, give it some time. Aftercare is a pretty important part of the experience. And with, and it varies. It involves physical and emotional support tailored to your needs, and everyone's needs are different. So discuss what kind of aftercare that you require and discuss whether that's something your dominant can provide for you. All right, you've had a lot of information here, but remember, every submissive's journey is unique. So take your time, communicate openly, embrace the experience at your own pace. Communicate your feelings, your desires, and most importantly, communicate with yourself about what you need. You can't get your needs met if you aren't aware of them, and you certainly can't get your needs met if you can't communicate them openly and honestly to another person. And also just remember that person on the other end, whether it's on the other end of the whip or on the other end of the screen, is in fact as human as you are. Make sure you create space for understanding and revering the actual person behind that title or in those boots that you love so much. All right. Now, I wish you the very best of luck in your search and come back for more. There'll be more education here shortly.